Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling something that's happening all around you, right now, but it's completely invisible. We're talking about the journey of a signal. We're going to pull back the curtain on that bridge connecting our physical world to the digital devices we use every single second. So, let's dive right in.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. How does your voice, which is really just vibrations in the air, turn into something a computer can actually understand? Something it can save or send halfway across the planet in an instant? It feels a little bit like magic, doesn't it? But it's not magic, it's an absolutely brilliant feat of translation.
And the reason we need that translation is because we're dealing with two totally different worlds. Our world, the real world, is analog. It's all smooth curves and continuous information. But the world inside our phones and computers, that's digital. It's a world built out of chunky, separate blocks. And, well, they just don't speak the same language.
Okay, so this really gets to the heart of it. An analog signal, like the sound of your voice, is this beautiful continuous wave. Between any 2 points on that wave, there are literally infinite other points. It's just like a dimmer switch, right? You can set the light to any possible level of brightness. But a digital signal, it's all about steps. It's either on or off, a 1 or a 0. There is nothing in between. It's a plain old light switch. So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you take that infinitely smooth, curvy wave and represent it accurately using a bunch of clunky, blocky steps? To make any of our modern tech work, we need a translator. Actually, as you'll see, we need 2 of them.
So the first leg of this journey is all about turning reality into numbers. And this is the job of a tiny but incredibly important piece of hardware, the analog to digital converter. You'll hear it called the ADC.
The ADC is basically our first translator. It's the gatekeeper. It takes a real-world signal, the voltage coming from a microphone, the reading from a thermometer, and it chops it up and converts it into a binary code, 1s and 0s, the only language a computer actually speaks.
Okay, but that brings up a pretty big problem. How on earth do you measure a signal that is constantly changing with infinite values and then give it one single precise number? You can't measure every point on the wave. That's impossible. So you got to be smart about it.
Well, the most common way it works is kind of like a super fast guessing game. Like the game higher or lower? You wouldn't guess 1, then 2, then 3. No, you'd start right in the middle to narrow it down faster. That's exactly what this ADC does. It starts with its biggest guess. Then it asks, is the real signal higher or lower than my guess? Based on the answer, it keeps or flips that first bit and moves on to the next one, cutting the possibilities in half each time. It just repeats this process, bam, 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 zeroing in on the most accurate digital value in a flash.
Now, of course, how good that digital picture is all comes down to its resolution. Think of it this way. Imagine you're trying to build a smooth ramp using staircase steps. If you only have a few really big steps, your staircase is going to be a pretty clumsy, blocky version of that ramp. But if you have thousands of tiny, tiny little steps, then your staircase starts to look and feel a whole lot more like that smooth ramp. That's resolution. More steps means a more accurate digital copy.
Okay, so now your voice is just a long string of 1s and 0s sitting inside a computer. Great. But that's only half the story. To actually listen to that recording, we have to run the whole process in reverse. We need to turn those numbers back into a reality we can actually hear.
And that is the job of our second translator, the digital to analog converter, or, you guessed it, the DAC. So if the ADC is the translator that gets information in, the DAC is the reconstructor. It takes that digital recipe of 1s and 0s and turns it back into a physical analog signal that can actually do something in the real world, like make a speaker cone move to create sound.
I love this analogy. Digital data is just like sheet music. It's a perfect set of instructions, the notes on the page. But it's not music. Not yet. The DAC is the musician. It's the one that reads that code and performs it, skillfully turning those precise notes back into a smooth, continuous sound wave.
So what's happening under the hood is pretty simple, really. For every single digital number it reads, the DAC spits out a very specific voltage. And by stringing together thousands of these little voltage steps every second, it rebuilds that original analog waveform.
Our ears just hear it as a smooth, continuous sound. So this whole back and forth, from reality to numbers and from numbers back to reality, this is the secret sauce. And once you really get it, you start to realize it is happening absolutely everywhere. This isn't just something in your headphones, it's the unseen bridge that makes so much of our modern life possible. I mean, just look at this list. Your computer's sound card is an obvious one. But your digital thermostat? It uses an ADC to read the analog temperature of the room. Your car is packed with them. The engine, the anti-lock brakes, they're constantly taking in real-world sensor data, crunching the numbers, and then sending analog signals back out to control everything. They are the absolute backbone of pretty much any modern system. And we're not talking about a slow process here. This translation is happening at mind-boggling speeds. Just to capture your voice clearly for a phone call, this conversion happens more than 44,000 times every single second. It's this non-stop, silent process that is, truly, the invisible bedrock of our world.
So when you put it all together, what you have is this constant conversation happening at the very heart of your digital life. It's a conversation between two very different worlds, and it's all made possible by this amazing digital go-between.
So every single time you listen to music on your phone, you talk to a friend, you adjust your smart thermostat, an ADC and a DAC are working together, performing that magic trick. They are the unsung heroes, the essential bridge that connects our world to the digital one.
And that kind of leaves you with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? We've pretty much mastered digitizing sight and sound, turning our analog senses into digital data. So what's next? What's the next frontier? What other part of the human experience is just waiting for its own translator to bridge that gap into the digital world?